necessary to protect a species from extinction, whereas a social scientist may conclude that the indigenous group's traditional practices must be preserved to maintain the economic viability of the community, which an exclusionary zone would disrupt significantly. So there are two ideas. If a social scientist and what a conservation biologist is working in what a very biodiversity area, so one will ask for protecting what that means there must not be entry into the place, whereas an economist may be trying to look into this as what generating income for the people who are occupying that place. So that is why we say various academic disciplines might engage in forms of their own community specifics, that is tribalism. And hence, so how do we address these questions is what, that's why we said interdisciplinary training programs must be, even interdisciplinary projects, interdisciplinary courses must be started at different universities, so that a culture of what this understanding, a system-based understanding, we call it what a system approach to understanding things rather than what very disciplinary specific understanding. The limitations of that should be understood, and the whole idea of what the research question must be now relooked in a newer way or in a changed way, and that is the major way by we can mobilize funding for our research. And we know this is also an important topic that has been discussed, and I hope Professor Simon Tuttle was here, and he could have given more ideas on all these things. Now, strengthening research is very important as far as a teacher is concerned, and as far as what to understand, to improve his presence in what the academic landscape. It's very important that our research contribution should increase, and also for what improving the presence of the institution that you represent. So that's also important. So that's why we say universities across the world are undergoing what rapid and significant change to compete in the increasingly global environment. And when you have what foreign universities coming into your nearby place, what are you going to do? Now, how can you keep your mark in the landscape of education? How do you do that? So that is why the common goal for all universities or institutions, that research output is increased. And this is very, very difficult for us. It's a lofty goal. That's the correct term to use, because the goal is very high. And what do we have? We have high teaching loads and increasing student numbers. So we are teachers. We have to look what maybe 3 to 4 hours of teaching we take daily, and in addition to that, we are doing what this research. So this requires reforms to strengthen research. So reforming research in universities can involve various strategies to enhance collaboration, efficiency, and societal impacts. So some specific ideas that we have, several institutions have been working. Investment in research infrastructure, all sorts of physical infrastructures in our university. We have a cliff, what all sophisticated instruments are being placed there, and these research facilities are given. Flexibility in work arrangements, academic promotion criteria, research must be given importance. And the first part, flexibility in work arrangements, we know it's very zero here. Incentivizing collaboration is very important. So if you go for a collaborative project, now university or college should institute some awards for those people who are engaging in collaborative works. Research industry collaborative hubs, that's why we speak of translational centers, where those fundamental research that is happening in the university must be converted as a product that is useful for the society. So everywhere we are, I think University of Kerala has also started steps for that translational research center. Then what about community engagement? How far is your research reaching the society? So that is why we have several public outreach initiatives. We had the Research Fest that was organized in our university. Then research impact matrices. Teachers and students need to be aware of the research matrices. Now, what about publishing an impact journal? So what do you mean by citation index? Those things must be what very much students also should be given awareness on all these issues. Then fostering global research exchanges. And yeah, you know how much difficult it is to engage into enter into MOUs with universities and the long delays that take place. And on the ethical approval process, this is going to be, I know if there are science teachers, particularly from biochemistry or zoology, or those teachers, and even social science people who are doing in health research. If you want to visit, so I had a project with the government of Kerala on the impact of palliative care policy, and we had to visit the primary health center and the CHC, and for that, for the permission from the medical officer, the district medical officer, we first need an institutional ethical committee approval. So I think it took around 6 months for the first meeting of the ethical committee where we were called for the presentation. And then after getting the ethical committee approval, it goes to the district medical officer. And again, another 6 months went on. So 1 year was the minimum period that we got for getting our clearance. So that should also be, because lots of scientific research is happening which needs ethical approval process, and that should also be streamlined. So these discussions are happening in the research arena of universities, and there are different steps for what is the initiation of research development cell or council of the colleges, etc., are ways by which this can be streamlined. And then if you want to convert our university, we're trying to, Kerala University is being on the process of getting itself converted into a research university, and then the idea of how teaching and research should be interconnected. The notion of a symbiotic relationship between research and teaching is a very core of the higher education. And then how can research help in teaching? So research-led teaching, research-oriented teaching, research-based teaching, research-informed teaching. So those are the different categories. I need not elaborate on all those things because that's very important. And so it's very familiar with all of you. And when you think about trust areas of research, that is also important, because trust areas that is noted in the syllabus also, the local, national, and the global priorities of research. How does your research address the immediate challenge at the local level? And how is it addressing national priorities and making a meaningful impact on global issues? I can give numerous examples for all this, but maybe it's good for you to think of your own research areas and how that you can relate to the local level initiatives. I said about the Sustainable Development Goals that has been adopted in the UN Summit, and what we are now doing, the center is now doing, is that how has the different projects that have been adopted by the local self-governments in Kerala, the panchayats, the gram panchayats, the block panchayats, and the district panchayats, are reflective of the SDGs, and what progress that they have made in SDGs. How is this SDG incorporated in the local plan? See, that is what a global development agenda which gets reflected at the national documents, and that is how it is being effectively implemented at the local level. So can think of those issues related to your when you write on funding, that becomes very important. So maybe I'll stop here and we will have 10 minutes discussion, and then we'll focus on academic collaborations. And that second part I'll skip there, but how do you write a collaborative proposal, and how do you work on the proposal if it is granted, and some personal experiences I can share with you. And then the last part we will look into how do you measure the impact of research. So that's what I plan. So maybe we will have a 10-minute interactive session, and you can share your observations on what I have commented, because it's very boring to have a monologue. I know it is online and it's mandatory that you should attend this course, and that is why you are here. I don't know whether you have listened or not, but if you have anything to share, now it would be good that I listen to those. And I know it's very difficult to listen to a talk that is a monologue in the afternoon from 2 to 5. Very horrible and terrifying experience. But anyway, if somebody has listened to me, it would be good if they share their experience.
Hello, madam. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you too.
I am Dr. Mini from Department of Library and Information Science.
Okay, Mini teacher, I can't do മനസ്സിലായില്ല ഇപ്പോഴും മനസ്സിലായത്.
Okay, madam.
Very young, അതുകൊണ്ടാണ് മനസ്സിലാവാത്തത്.
I am not commenting on this, what you said, but from one experience, teacher has highlighted the importance of multidisciplinary or transdisciplinary research. And as you said, in a multidisciplinary or transdisciplinary research, experts from various disciplines have to collaborate. That is all the research that are going on in science, not only in science but also social science subjects. Now, recently, this is an experience I am sharing. A student from English approached me to, and he is wishing to join as a PDF scholar in our department. He is actually a PhD. He got PhD in the subject English language and literature, but he is interested in doing some research in the area of rural libraries. What rural libraries has contributed in Kerala's social and economic history, like that. I invited him, then we submitted a proposal. But recently, while scrutinizing the application forms, our research section communicated me a letter. This is not our PDF research is only restricted to that particular area. We are not promoting this type of research. Okay, madam. This is an experience that we have. Our universities should encourage that type of students who are coming forward. So we have to collaborate. Okay.
Actually, I totally agree with what you have said. So this has to be changed. Definitely, this has to be changed. Particularly for postdoctoral research, we should promote interdisciplinary understanding. See how often this documenting the contribution of rural libraries to the socio-economic progress of the locality. And then it is definitely what a mix between library science and what the language thing that you speak of. And then university, that's why I said it's the staff that is dictating the conditions of how do you decide all these things. So that's why I have argued yesterday and gave a complaint to the Vice Chancellor that at least this file should be put up in academic bodies. It should come to the academic council, it should come to the Senate, or it would come to the syndicate, and then let the body take a decision. And it is not under the jurisdiction of a section officer to make decisions. So she or he can write, this is a rule of the university, and then let him place the file to the Vice Chancellor and let the larger bodies decide. അങ്ങനെയല്ലേ നിയമം മാറുള്ളൂ. ഇത് ഒരു രാമുവിന്റെ കാലത്തുള്ള സിപിയുടെ കാലത്തുള്ള നിയമം പറഞ്ഞിട്ട്
വളരെ ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റ് ആണ് ഈ വിഷയത്തില്. അപ്പൊ ഞാൻ വിചാരിച്ചു ഇനി ആ സ്റ്റുഡന്റിനെ കൊണ്ട് ഒരു റെപ്രസെന്റേഷൻ, ഒരു സബ്മിഷൻ നമുക്ക് വൈസ് ചാൻസലർക്ക് കൊടുത്താലോ?
തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും കൊടുക്കാൻ.
ഒരു സെക്ഷൻ ഓഫീസറിന്റെ ലെവലിലാണ് ഈ തീരുമാനങ്ങൾ എടുത്തത്.
അതെ ഇത് തന്നെയാണ് ഞാൻ ഇന്ന് പറഞ്ഞില്ലേ. ഡൽഹി യൂണിവേഴ്സിറ്റിയിൽ നിന്ന് പഠിച്ചു വരുന്ന കുട്ടികളെ 6 മാസമായിട്ട് ഇവിടെ കോഴ്സ് നടക്കുകയാണ്. അവർ അടുത്ത മാസം പരീക്ഷ എഴുതുകയാണ്. അവർക്ക് എലിജിബിലിറ്റി കൊടുക്കില്ല. യൂണിവേഴ്സിറ്റി ഓഫ് ഡൽഹി ലേഡീസ് കോളേജ് നെർഫിൽ 3rd റാങ്കാണ്. ഇത്ര പ്രയാസമുള്ള അനുഭവങ്ങളാണ് നമ്മൾ ഇത്രയും പ്രായം അവരെ ഫേസ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. അപ്പോ എന്ത് ഇന്റർഡിസിപ്ലിനാരിറ്റി ആണ് നമ്മൾ സംസാരിക്കുന്നത് എനിക്കറിയില്ല. ടീച്ചർ യു ഗീവ് എ റെപ്രസെന്റേഷൻ ആ കുട്ടിയെ കൊണ്ട് ഡിസൈഡ് അറ്റ്ലീസ്റ്റ് ഫോർ എ PDF should be interdisciplinary.
We are acting only as a mentor, not as a judge.
അതെ
will be done by the students.
അതെ ഈ കൈരളി PDF അവാർഡ്സും ഒക്കെ ഇങ്ങനെയാണ്. അവരുടെ ഡിസിപ്ലിനിൽ നിന്നല്ലാതെ if you apply for a different discipline there is greater chance that it is given. Government is adopting such policies. അപ്പൊ പിന്നെ എന്താണ്, what problem does the university have? യൂണിവേഴ്സിറ്റി നോക്കിയ പ്രശ്നമില്ല. അവിടെ ഇരിക്കുന്ന ഒരു ഓഫീസറാണ് ഈ ഡിക്റ്റേറ്റ്സ്. അത് ചേഞ്ച് ചെയ്തേ പറ്റൂ. ടീച്ചർ അത് ഫോളോ അപ്പ് ചെയ്യും. ഞാനും എന്റെ പുറകെ വരുന്നതാണ്. ഇപ്പൊ ഞാൻ ബട്ട് എനിവേ ഐ ക്യാൻ റൈറ്റ് ടു ദ വൈസ് ചാൻസലർ. അത് ഉറപ്പായിട്ടും നമ്മൾ പുട്ടപ്പ് ചെയ്യുന്നതാണ്.
Meenakshi from Institute of English supported the student.
Okay. Madi, teacher, let it go.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for raising the issue.
Okay.
So, any other comments? Okay, then we will continue with the remaining parts, and then we will have discussion later. Okay.
ടീച്ചർ മ്യൂട്ടാണ്.
Sorry, I was speaking. Yeah, I now try to speak on academic collaborations based on the personal experience that we have. And yeah, I come from social science background, and I hope you understand how difficult it's for social science teachers to mobilize funds from external sources. But we were able to mobilize around more than 2 crores of rupees during the last 3 years through the process of academic collaboration. So mostly all these were academic collaborative projects, and how important is what collaborative projects to increase your credibility and visibility in your university and in the knowledge domain in which you contribute. So that's what I will be discussing, and I'll give some personal experiences also of writing a proposal. Those things are also there in the syllabus, how to write a collaborative proposal and how to go with this. Yeah, collaboration. This is a key word now. In research, we are speaking on collaboration. Even if you want to conduct a seminar, UGC insists that it should be in collaboration with some organization of some other university or something like that. And collaboration is a working practice whereby individuals work together for a common purpose to achieve benefit. And the skills that you need for collaboration can be defined as interpersonal and intrapersonal qualities and competences we leverage to collectively solve a problem or make progress towards a common goal. Collaborative skills we have not only in research, I'm speaking how the teamwork that we do at our home or our family, in the society, in the institution that you work. All these needs what interpersonal and intrapersonal qualities and competencies. That is what we call as collaborative skills. And as I said, collaboration is the great way of improving skills, increasing visibility, and making network mean something. And what about academic collaboration? Academic collaboration means working jointly with others in an intellectual endeavor. So you are in an intellectual pathway or in an intellectual endeavor, and you are working jointly with others. And it can take different forms. Writing a research paper. 1 in 5 of the world's scientific papers are co-authored internationally. Okay, yeah. But earlier we used to speak of the situation when teachers apply for assistant professor post or when they apply for the promotion. The first thing is how many first authored articles do you have, or how many single authored articles do you have? And personally, I know the difficulty of getting published an article in your name alone in an internationally peer-reviewed journal, because these journals can value collaborative works and collaborative articles much more than the single authored article. It's very difficult. Maybe you may have 1 or 2 publications, but others, see, for example, I remember a publication that came in Nature where the authors were 100 in number, and one of my friends from Sri Chitra Institute also contributed to that. It was on infant mortality across the globe, and she wrote on the case of India. So from every country, 1 person contributed. And if you say that as per the suggestions or earlier guidelines of the UGC, the first person will be getting 70% of the credit, and the 30% will be distributed among the remaining 99 persons. You can imagine what what mark or score she will get when she applies for a promotion. And then published in Nature, how important is it? What recognition does she get compared to what a single authored article that you publish from a local press in Trivandrum? So that is the difference here. So writing a research paper, 1 in 5 of the world's scientific papers are co-authored internationally, and it's also easy also, because I may write the introduction part where maybe the theoretical part where I can have great contribution. Somebody will be analyzing the data, somebody will be interpreting the result, and somebody will be reviewing and rewriting or reorganizing the whole article. So that habit of writing collaborative articles must also be encouraged. Second type of collaboration is what I said, that's the most easier one, organizing a seminar in connection with somebody whom you are collaborating with. The third one is very difficult, pursuing research, collaborative research, defined as research working together to achieve the common goal of producing new scientific products. So all funding agencies, ICSSR, if you apply as an individual person, the maximum limit will be 12 lakhs, whereas if it is a collaborative in India, the funding limit is 50 lakhs. So there are differences. And collaborative research across research institutions or universities across the countries is again an easy task. Then conducting courses is another type of academic collaboration, faculty exchange, then student exchange. So these are all types of academic collaboration. And whatever collaborative process that you do, this is equally applicable for the research work that you do. The scientific approach to research, the different constituents or the components of research which is given in the syllabus of the second module, deals with all these things. How do you pursue with the research? So if you are speaking about a collaborative proposal, then you need a research proposal. And that now it is always an electronic document submitted by a group of researchers to organizations for seeking their approval to conduct their study. And whatever proposal that you write in any branch of discipline you come from, the goal is twofold. One, what is the justification for the research problem? Why do you want to do the study? Not only on the research problem, but why is that you should do the study? In social science, we always ask the question, how is it contributing to policy making? How is it contributing to the society? I know in science also that's a basic question. So this product or something that you invent is finally going to be translated into as a usable thing for the society. So then whatever proposal you write, please remember to justify the need to study the research problem, and then the methodology part, what are the practical ways in which the proposed studies should be conducted. So here also the problem arises because the design elements and procedures for conducting research are governed by the standards of the predominant discipline in which the problem resides. I do interdisciplinary research, and when my PhD students make a presentation here, people always ask, how much component do you have economics in that? So economics is a social science, is a branch of science, and cannot be taken apart from what the politics or the political science or sociology or the cultural aspect in which the phenomenon lies. But this is a question that we always face. So that's why we say the procedures for conducting research are governed by the standards of the predominant discipline in which the problem resides. Therefore, the guidelines of research proposals are more exacting, it's more difficult than a research proposal. So you can have research proposal for grants by the government, college, etc., collaborative research proposals, etc. And when you write the research proposal, it's not the research methodology that we are speaking about, it's a research proposal. So it's related to this is what the constituents of the research that you speak on. It should have a title page, definitely. Then an introduction where you mainly provide what the readers a clear rationale of understanding the study. That is brief description about the subject area of your study. Then you speak about the literature, the review part. A small introduction. It's maybe only 200 words. When you upload the proposal, the word limits are also given. ICSR says 200 words should be the limit. So then within that, you are describing the subject area in relation to the literature, and then the rationale. Why is it that you do the study? You state the question, then divide it into objectives, and then if there are hypotheses to be tested, you will speak that. That's the first part, the introductory part. Second, you should write on the methodological session. How do you plan for conducting the study? Now, this is important because the funding depends upon the methodology that you write. So you will write, again it will be 200, 300 words where you write the methods. How do you select the subjects or participants? Science people can think of their own proposals, decisions on the instruments that you use, the data analysis techniques, or how do you collect data, etc. And lastly, about the conclusion part, when you mention the possible benefits of the study. This is important. Benefits of the study, mentioning about the limitations of the study, the time schedule, and the budget. So we will have then the bibliography, the appendix, where you write what the biodata or the curriculum vitae of the principal investigator and those things. And that comes in the appendix. So I'm not showing the a sample proposal because I know all of you are familiar with that, but I'll later show you when speaking about the collaborations that we had. I'll show you what one of the proposals that we submitted to the European Union and the different components and what comments did they give when the proposal was reviewed. Okay, and then anybody who is doing research and who is writing a proposal must be very familiar in this idea, this concept of academic writing. So I'll skip those things because it's just a different topic that all of us need to understand how to do. Now, I have written here again this slide because I know as a person who is engaged in interdisciplinary collaborations with different universities, around 18 universities across the globe, the limitations that we have in academic writing. We are not trained in academic writing. The first thing that I have written on my own is the PhD thesis that I had, or even for our PG assignments or for the degree assignments that we give, we don't train the students. And I because you come from different disciplines and different board of studies and different faculties, now it's highly needed that in our degree program, every discipline has a 4-credit course on academic writing that is suitable to that discipline, where students should be given what learning, teaching assignments or writing assignments that should be evaluated, classes on that should be done, and in all the internal components that we speak in our PG program, we should have an assignment that the student should write on her own, where we check plagiarism, we come and give comments. And it's only through that process that they can know. In the era of ChatGPT, we had our last year PG students were submitting their PG thesis within 5 days. So, and when they brought the thesis, normally we take 6 months for the students to do all these things. And then when we reviewed the whole thing, I knew it was artificial intelligence generated thing. So the innate or inherent capability that the students have in writing is lost. So that's why we say that right from the degree in Europe and in United States of America at the undergraduate level, for any course that they do, my collaborator had an intensive course on academic writing during her degree, PG degree course, and in the Norwegian University of Life Sciences where she is teaching, she is offering this course on academic writing. So that's why I thought I should speak at least 1 or 2 minutes on the importance of incorporating academic writing in our syllabi that we follow. And I'm skipping these slides, the challenge of writing and what is academic writing. It's addressed to scholars and other knowledgeable readers who are very familiar with that branch of knowledge. So here the ideas are very important, and that is why we are unable to publish. Our students, I also keep it as on my personal behalf, I say that's very difficult for me to get published because our personal feelings, particularly in social science, it always comes to the scene. Maybe the language, there might be problem, the presentation of ideas. Now those things have innate problems. We are not familiar with the academic writing style. I remember sending an article to the Journal of Agroecology and Sustainable Food System, which is a highly indexed with a good, very good impact factor in social sciences. And we wrote an article on Subisha Kerala. So the title was Agroecological Transitions in Kerala during Agroecological Transitions during COVID times, the Kerala experience. So that was the title. So after 3 months, we received a comment from the reviewer that the ideas that you have written in your article is very good, but the language needs to be internationally accepted. So you need to go with the. I am sure that there were no grammatical errors. That might be very less, but they say that this is not suited for the international audience. So you need to give it to the language editing services, and then you need to resubmit that. So that was the first time that we received such a comment, and then the article is published by Taylor and Francis, and we just looked into the Taylor and Francis editing services. So we inquired, and they asked us to. Maybe you also might have similar experience. This was the first experience for me. That's why I'm sharing to you. So we submitted the article, and then per word, this thing was counted. It's around 30 pages article. And then Taylor and Francis said, if you want us to review and do language editing services, you need to pay 40,000. So that was the amount. And because it was the planning board sponsored project, so we had money in that, and so we paid 40,000. And 3 days after, the article was returned, but that was a very, very, very important learning experience for me and my research scholars on how do you rephrase your article to an international audience. So it was a learning experience. Each and every word that they have given, the comments, 30 pages. I think we took around 1 week to sit together, read and understand those things. And the article was, the message was clear. Only the language was edited, and then I feel very proud that that has been a transformation for us, and then that was being sent to the journal. And after the 3 months, then the reviewers came. It's a social science journal, and you know how difficult it is to get these things published. And I have, I have those things. The comments, the long list of comments that came here. Yeah. Can you see this? Can you see this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, lots and lots of comments on the ontology, on the epistemology. This is the first time that I hear these words, eco-socialism. Then positivist empirism, historical empirism, and about the style and form on each page, page 2, line 9, page 3, line 4, comments, and the second reviewer has given 100 references, and then he or she has asked us to include how is your article related to this, and how do you incorporate those things. And again, this took 1 month for us to revise all these things, and then the rebuttal letter was given, where the comment was highlighted. So this is the way the journal has asked us to correct on this, and then our response. So the response itself, I think around 30 pages we have to write on all these things, how we have modified that. And then came the second set of corrections, and finally we are very happy that that has been published, the Subisha Kerala project of Government of Kerala, how it has brought about nudging has been done, and how it has transformed the whole mindset of the Keralites, and what change has happened in a movement, a social movement. That was how we had written that. And immediately after publication, we received several comments from those people who are working in this area. And last week, I had a person it was published around only 10 days back, a person from Oslo University. He was on visit here, and he came over to the department on the basis of the article. So that's how I think now you get, that's an example. I can share only my example. So yeah, I was speaking on this thing, the writing part, and then how important is that the style is, how important is the style, how important is what the characteristics of academic writing. Now it should be dispassionate, the clarity, the role of grammar. Then, these are all examples. I'll skip those things. And then coming to international collaborations. Now, university partnerships provide huge amount of opportunities and for students and staff. Yeah. And in terms of teaching, what benefits include curriculum development, collaborative degrees, etc. And then proposal, international collaboration writing proposals. Again, there are very important specifics that should be followed. And research, as I said, requires good ideas, favorable institutional context and resources. I think in our case, the first thing is we have that. Teachers have. Second, there are changes yet to be made. Some changes are being done and resources need to be mobilized. Resources, we speak not only of human resources, but on the need for the financial means required to recruit specialized personnel, purchase equipment and supplies. And and in most cases, we have lots of programs. Even though we are having lots of programs, in most cases, insufficient to establish the basics required to acquire funds from international donor organizations. So again, when framing the proposal for these international collaborations, the structural elements. So you should always think who is going to read and evaluate your proposal. That is very important, because when you apply a project to any funding agency in India, you won't be getting any comments. So they say your proposal is rejected or this is accepted. That's the only thing that we have. But if you apply to international agencies, it's very good that your proposal is read and they give an explanation why this is rejected. So you have scores are given, marks are given, ratings are given, and then the comment itself, you can learn upon that. So always put yourself in the position of a reviewer and consider what you expect. And most peer reviewers do the job for altruistic reasons. So it's our duty that we give these reviewers key points and the necessary clarifications. So if you do for international collaborations, the project identification page is the beginning one. So you will have the title, the partners and their affiliation. So that's where I say, if you have lots of partners, and particularly from the civil society, university, academia, civil society interaction, such type of partnerships and affiliations always get good score, because interdisciplinarity gets a score there. And when you speak on the area and disciplines also, that is important, then you will have a project summary and keywords. Then about the project body, the background, own previous work you have done, the problem statement, the objectives, the method, the expected outcome. Then the third part will definitely be the planning verification documents, where you speak of research requirements, time and work plan. Then the supporting elements, the budget, the budget breakdown, the signatures, etc. And imagine that you have entered into collaboration. So I'll show you a proposal that was sanctioned by Norwegian Higher Education Department. And then once you enter into collaboration, so this is also important, but once you enter into collaboration, you feel very easy and you don't follow the schedule. That happens from people from Kerala. So follow the schedule, create and use a shared calendar and to-do list. This will help you to manage your task, because we are all teachers having n number of activities to do, and then keeping this schedule and doing submitting documents accordingly is very difficult for us. So that's why initially itself we should agree on the responsibilities. So failed collaborations are the results of misaligned expectations. So people may think that their counterpart will be writing. They will work more on that, they'll get this published, and we need to speak only. So to avoid this, tackle the issue early. So an MOU to make sure that all parties are clear on what is expected of them. That is also important. Secondly, demonstrating a responsible attitude. So you should always improve your collaborative resources or relations, and we have lots of online tools that are being used now. So using that, there should be shared understanding, shared responsible attitude. Then agree on the deliverables. Project deliverables should be clarified. At the end of month 3, what are you going to produce? What is your deliverable that you will supply? And achieving this entails, achieving this entails establishing comprehensive details on when this expected. So in the European Union project that was for 2018 to 2022, so we were given, there's a shared project between 19 universities, of which University of Kerala was a part, and we were given what the consortium gave decided upon the joint responsibilities and the delivery. M12 we would submit the case development report. Month 24 we would do the research protocol. Month 30 we will do the course. So such sort of distribution of deliverables were given, and then try to keep it a formal relationship. So this is very important. So had it been an offline course, I should have given lots and lots of examples where how we Malayalis enter into informality in all the professional relationships that we keep. I have shared this in last academic UGC HRDC session also, where I had an experience of my collaborator writing a written complaint to the university when she was denied vacation by the HOD. And then she gave this complaint, not only to the higher education department, to the gender justice cell or something like that of the university, that this person is taxing her very much and she is not allowed to go on leave for her vacation. So I had the impression that this would end their formal relationship. So he is the professor and the head of the department. The complaint was against him, and she is the assistant professor, associate professor there. So I was under the impression that the whole relationship will come to an end soon. But what I saw is that after 3 months, they published a joint article. So that was an interesting learning experience for us also. We may have other sorts of issues with our colleagues and those things, but entering into formal collaboration is very, very important. Had it been in Kerala, I used to think that till the end of our life, we would never speak to a person who gave a complaint to the university. So that has been that's very important to keep a formal relationship, and also be very patient while you enter into collaboration, because it's incorporating lots and lots of institutions coming from different cultural backgrounds and societal backgrounds. So we need to be very careful and patient while you pursue this collaboration. That's a method. So in our case, I can give this example of collaboration. How did it started? Networking is very important if you want to do this interdisciplinary collaborations. So our key area of research is agroecology and public health. And normally, if you want to enter into collaborations, the best thing is that now go for our conferences, organize conferences, invite those people who are in the area to come into your university, or you can have somewhat webinar like that. Get into membership with those organizations in which of your field of interest. Then, and publications is going to improve your credibility. So if you have an authentic publication on the journal which is related to your area of interest, that itself is enough to get funding. Next time when you write for funding sources, this is going to be important. So then the next part is finding out funders. So we had projects from the UGC, from the ICSSR, ICMR, the National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, and then the government departments. So we are doing the social audit of public distribution system for the government of Kerala, and also we are concurrently evaluating the National Food Security Act, which is a project by the government of India for the states of Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and also for Lakshadweep. So these are all large funding projects where lots of researchers and research assistants are involved. And then we have also projects with the international lenders. The last project has been over in the last year, and now we wish to publish all those things, and we are taking a gap for a few years to get all these things published. And once you get started, everything depends on your hard work. That's why I said your hard work and the team that you have. Skills differ. I may have writing skills, but another person maybe have quantitative skills. Somebody may be having skills in interpreting qualitative data. Some will be having specialization in using software. So leverage on all the skills that you have, the community have. Keep a good teamwork. and then hard work is important. And interdisciplinary studies, as I said earlier, gets importance. So these are the things that we had. I don't know whether I have this. I forgot. I have this video with me, a small link to the video. That now this is what the university has prepared for a short video for the Governor's Award.
Certificate course on agroecology, action research and education conducted by University of Kerala in collaboration with Norwegian University of Life Sciences is a maiden effort towards action-based participatory education in Kerala. Students from diverse disciplines come together and along with teachers and stakeholders, society learn from each other by working and reflecting in a real-life context with respect to sustainable development. Students become citizens of two worlds, the world of theories and concepts and the complex reality, by practicing competencies such as observation, reflection, participation, dialoguing and visioning, fostering both green skills and soft skills needed to bring about green shift. The purpose of the course is to serve as a pedagogical framework for initiating and developing new and innovative learning activities through practicing and learning to deal with case situation on farm and in communities, and these form the core of the educational process.
Yeah, we have been running this course for the last many years, and recently, based on this, we have tried to scale up this by introducing internship for PhD students in action research. And yeah, these are the other activities that we did. I'll just show you that which one. Yeah, the Norwegian University proposal and the comments that we got in this regard. Yeah, this is the decision application granted. Then, yeah, the introduction part, short-term funding on agroecology, action research, main partnership. This is how we have to fill the form. Norwegian University of Life Sciences, project coordinator, and main partner institution outside Kerala is what the Department of Economics. So are there any networking? See, the German Institute in India is a network source, network partner that we had. Then the Development Communication and Service Center in Hyderabad is another one. Institution of Sustainable Development, another one. University of Calcutta. Then the other participants in the project. Then about the letter. See, one paragraph, what the information. This is about the project summary. Then the different academic principles, see, the interdisciplinarity, educational sciences, pedagogy and didactics, agriculture, ecology, environmental sciences, and public health. And about the history of collaboration, links to interdisciplinarity, previous and parallel funding. What about the work plan, the project goals, the expected results, sustainability, risk assessment. These are the components that are given here. Again, on the cross-cutting issues like gender balance. The next one is the project activities and the budgetary allocation. So what are the activities that you plan under the project? Educational workings and project meetings in India, international project meetings. 2 participants from NMU will come over here and 2 from here will go over there. Those things, joint educational activities, and the budget and those things. Then about the CV. This is in the public domain, and then funding assessment. So that's why I said there are 2 reviewers. So these are the points. One is relevance to the objectives of the program, links between existing research collaboration and the proposed educational activities, quality of the project, quality of project plans, assessment of the budget, gender issues, and then the quality. And everything is written in detail here. So this is a case when we overall assessment. So this is a case when we had received funding. So there was a case prior to that when we applied for a 4-year funding which was rejected. And then we were given comments on the project based on which we worked in the 2nd year for getting what this project approved. So this was about the Horizon 2020 project that I have mentioned. It's a rural renaissance project. And then, yeah, I can't show all these things because it's around 196 pages. Now the abstract, then the participating agencies, institutions, their details and those things. And then, yeah, these are about all the institutions, their heads of the department, their contact persons, etc. And then we have the proposal. Yeah, the proposal is here about the objectives, the relation to the work program, the concept, the expected impact. See, impact on the economy, impact on regulatory bodies, impact on societal impacts, measures to maximize impact. So, development of a communication strategy, social media, online platform, webinars, workshops. How do we explore those things? And then the last one is the implementation. So that's why we said we have the shared responsibility of what the work packages.
107 pages.
I'm looking about the work package number. Objective number 7, who is in charge, who is the participant, and how many institutions will be engaged. And I would like to show you the deliverables. See, D7.1, deliverable 7.1, first delivery of reports, second delivery of the last one. I'll show you the earlier one. Yeah, overview of best practices, month 6. Framework of proposal, month 18. Pilot test 1, M22. Pilot test of framework, M33. Launched to reduce the use of peer review system, M40. So this has been already agreed by all the participants and deliverables are given. And who is in charge and who are the other universities that will work for this work package has also been specifically mentioned. So that's why I said entering into MOU and what following all these guidelines is also important. So regarding MOU, yeah, again, it is a very cumbersome process to get an MOU sanctioned by the university, where this is something that has been, MOU has been approved by the Registrar of University of Kerala and the person in charge of the food and the public distribution system in Government of India. And yeah, we had projects with the NABARD's Impact of Tribal Development Project, which was again a collaborative project with NABARD, incorporating persons from sociology development and those things. Now, these are all, I don't have any other experience. I cannot speak from somebody else's perspective. So this is a simple attempt that we have done in the university to have this collaboration, particularly interdisciplinary collaboration. And now the last part that I would like to speak is on the measuring the impact of publications. And then if time permits, I'll share all the slides that I have prepared. The last one on the scientific approach to research. Now just some highlights we will discuss. So how do you measure the impact of publications? All of us are very familiar with that. Your presence, your publication. Have you generated knowledge? If you have generated knowledge, then it means that somebody is replicating it or somebody is quoting it. In social sciences, we will say that is being quoted. And how do you measure that? So that is one of the important ways by which the credibility of the researcher and the research index of the university is measured in terms of the number of cited publications. So what are the different techniques that you have for this? One important thing is the citation metrics. So what is citation count? The number of times a publication is cited by other works. This is a fundamental measure of impact. So if I publish something in the Journal of Palliative Care, what happens? So if you go to the journal website, if I give the date of indexing of the article, my article will come, and then it will be written on the side part, the citation counts, the number of times this is being counted. So that's one important metrics. Then we also know about in Google Scholar, if you upload all your papers, you will get the citation count that you have. H-index, it combines both the number of publications and the number of citations. So if you have an H-index of H, if H of their publications have at least H citations. So if you have 5 publications having 5 citations, then your H-index would be 5. If you have 10 publications having 10 citations, then your H index will be 10. So that is also, that takes into consideration the number of publications and also the number of citations. Then you also use the journal impact factor, and that is for journals. So it can indirectly reflect the impact of individual articles. So journal impact factor is calculated based on the average number of citations received by an articles in a journal. So you have individual citation counts, but the journal impact factor is also very important. So if the journal is having an impact factor of 3, then it means that the articles that have been published in that journal has been cited 3 times on an average. So these are important matrices, and we need to be having an idea of that and how to improve your presence in these things. You should have interdisciplinary articles. So I thought I have not prepared a slide, but lastly we will discuss those things also. And what about AL metrics? It's alternative metrics. It's a simple and effective way of understanding who is engaging with research online and what they are saying. These consider non-traditional sources such as social media mentions, downloads, reviews, etc. to measure the impact of research in a more contemporary way. And usage statistics, you can look into statistics of your article that is published online. Immediately there will be their side part, left side, usage statistics, or right side, number of views, number of downloads. So this will also give you an idea of how many persons have viewed this and how many have downloaded this. That's also a method by which the impact of publication is counted. Then author and journal reputation, publishing in high impact journals can contribute to the perceived impact of the publication. Yeah. And then peer reviewing and editorial feedback is very important. See, Steve Glitzman is the author, is the editor of the Journal of Agroecology and the Public Health, who is the originator of the idea of agroecology. And then if you receive a feedback from the horse mouth itself, you are getting that. And then that peer review is this will reflect the impact of the publication. So each and every word that you write, those ideas and meanings which you didn't have in your mind are being interpreted and being told to you in return through the peer review process. And well-regarded publications are likely to have undergone rigorous peer review process. And this also, the extent of collaboration. See, you can have a publication easily, or the hurdles that you see if you want to publish your journal gets reduced once you are having collaborative works. Collaboration with other institutions, particularly foreign institutions, can influence the visibility and impact of a publication. Then policy also, assessing whether, if you have, I have heard our Professor Viju Tisar from Commerce Department telling that what he said is very important. So he was their research project was the first to measure the service quality delivery of Grama Panchayats and the methodology they have used, and this has been incorporated by the government of Kerala in order to measure the service quality and what is that certification, ISO certification being given to the Panchayat. So that's how your research influences policies, practices, and how industry. Now, the translational research that we speak of, how many patents do you get, how do you convert that into societal use, etc., are also methods by which you can evaluate the impact of your research on the impact of the research. And then grant funding. So when you apply for publication, all leading Taylor and Francis or any other publication, so they will be having something, a column. Did you receive any research funding? So if we say yes, then you are asked to give the grant funding also. So if your research is based on a successful grant application, then the published work, it will have chance of getting it published, also the probability of getting it published increases, and also the funding, if you have funding, the relevance of your research also gets increased. Then self-assessment is the most important method of judging yourself. Can reflect on the impact of their work based on the reception within their field, feedback from the peers, and its contribution to existing body of knowledge. And in the long term, consideration of long-term impact of publication. Some groundbreaking research may take time to gain recognition. So, if you speak of agroecology as a subject, which I am interested, it came as a science, came as a practice, but it took time for people to recognize it as a social movement. That's why we said groundbreaking research may take time to gain recognition. So no single metric can provide a comprehensive view of impact. Researchers often use a combination of these matrices. And I have forgot to mention about I-10 index. That's a number of publications with at least 10 citations, which should have come earlier. So these are the ideas about how do you measure the impact of your research, and how to improve the visibility, how to improve this. There are always these ResearchGate, academia, those things where you can upload your article. Then it's if you have this we call it review articles, can be scoping review or systematic review. And if you publish those articles, so we have a good librarian in our Department of History who collaborates with all academicians, and he gives all the software, library science software, to know how, in which place the knowledge is emerging, which are the dominant themes, and we do a metadata analysis on the concept of what that has been, how this particular aspect has emerged over the time, the different disciplinary ideas on all these things. And if you have such a publication, that is, if you have a review article that is being published, the number of citations that you are going to get is going to increase very much. We are working on such a review article on, it is called, one of my research scholars is working on the economic and environmental impact of recreational tourism as a case study of Varkala Cliff, and she's working on carrying capacity. Now, initially we had the idea that carrying the capacity is only geography, a measure of geography, but now we understand that it is psychological, it is economic, it's social. And she's working on a review article on the evolution of the idea of carrying capacity and how different disciplines have contributed to this. What are the leading journals in which this is being published? So that's the first attempt, our first attempt in doing such a review article. But what we have seen is that such review articles will increase your impact matrices. So lots and lots of other things, how this is important for the policy, etc. are important. So I'll stop here, and maybe 5 minutes I'll just speak on to the last slide that I had, which is on the scientific approach to research. This is one more module. I'll share the PPT with you, so I don't want to discuss all these things. What about scientific approach? Because we are all familiar with these things about empirics of the methodology that we follow, the systematic methodology, objective inquiry, ethical consideration, etc., and the types of research that we speak on. What do you mean by basic research or fundamental research? And what are the triggers of basic research, and then examples of basic research challenges. Then about applied research, which is a practical form. How do you go with that research? And the features of the research, the impact, examples. Then action research, which we are interested in, a participatory and collaborative form of scientific inquiry that involves practitioners and researchers working together to address specific issues with a particular context. So its emphasis is on generating actionable knowledge. So collaboration is important, iterative cycles are important, and types of actions and research and examples of action research, the challenges and criticisms. And then in scientific approach, from where do you get knowledge? Empirical observation, objective measurement, logical reasoning. I'm just skipping all those things. Now, what is the role of personal experience in scientific approach? So this is also a debatable question. So can personal experience shape your research question? What about the biases and assumptions that you have? How do you manage personal bias? What are the ethical considerations there? Then what is the role of logical reasoning in scientific approach, about hypothesis, those design, etc. And then the methods part, the scientific method of doing research, which starts with identification of the research problem, same methodology for everyone, maybe the same steps, that is defining the scope of the research problem, reviewing the existing literature, then research objectives, how do you formulate the research question, research objectives, then what features of the research problem, significance of the problem, contributing to relevance, avoiding ambiguity, balancing specificity and generality, those things. Then about formulating hypothesis. So I'll skip that. Types of hypothesis, criteria for a good hypothesis, importance of hypothesis, those things. Third one, how do you go with the methods, selection of this. If it's a sample-based study, how do you define the population, what are the methods, just tools of data collection, the experiments, the interviews that you do, how do you go with ensuring validity and reliability of the issue, data collection errors, etc. Then testing hypothesis and data analysis. How do you test the hypothesis? Data analysis techniques, going with descriptive statistics, inferential statistics, qualitative analysis, comparison with hypothesis, ensuring replicability. And then lastly, interpretation. And this is the method part, the interpretation and dissemination of findings. How do you interpret the result? How do you write the discussion part in your article? That is important. Interpreting the results and relating to the existing literature, and how do you contribute to the fostering of further knowledge is how you write the discussion part, interpretation of results, then dissemination of findings, research articles, conference, publication of books, PhD thesis, projects, findings, etc. Okay, and then what are the criticisms and the limitations and conclusions and future direction. So some reading list also I have given to you. So yeah, I hope we will stop here and have maybe 15-20 minutes for discussion. Yeah, because it's immensely difficult to continue speaking to an online audience. I don't know whether you are sleeping or listening. It's like what you go to the classroom, cover your eyes with a black ribbon or cloth, and then talk to the audience. We are not sure whether people are there. So that limitation I also experience. So I'll stop here. The whole purpose was to understand what research and development process in the university. And I have focused more on the initial part because that is normally not taught in our PG syllabus. We start only with what identification of the problem, about knowledge, about epistemology, about axiology, about ontology, how knowledge and research are related, and the scientificity of the knowledge, how UN sustainable development goals, and how the research problem can be either addressing a local issue or a national priority or focusing on the global agenda. Those things we have discussed. And whatever research question that you phrase or the methodology that you have should be based on these grand theories. So that's a method, that's a message that I wanted to communicate to you. And second, we have looked into the need for entering into in the focus on interdisciplinarity. Now, several small things are given there, but understanding interdisciplinarity, the limitations, how do you proceed with that, how university rules has to be changed in order to focus on interdisciplinarity, how can you foster research in the university, some basic tips and the methods that we do that have been discussed. And then I have what we have discussed, academic collaborations, the personal experience that we have at the Department of Economics on engaging into interdisciplinary academic collaborations and the recognitions that we have got on the basis of that, the research awards that we have, and the center has been elevated, given the status of a Center for Excellence by the Government of Kerala. So those things, if you do interdisciplinary work, it's very important, it's very easy for you to get mobilized funds and establish yourself in your field. And the last part, we have looked into how do you measure what the impact of the research and some tips for fostering research. So this is what I have to share with you in a nutshell. And now you can just raise your observations or your personal experiences coming from different places. You might have all very serious levels of experience in applying for research projects, getting funding, spending time, getting time for research, because research and teaching never go together. How you can formulate syllabus. If you go for what NEP says, that new education policy, the national education policy keeps on experiential learning, where you say that the teacher should be free, at least in the postgraduate, to offer his or her own specialized courses where experiential knowledge or research informed or research based teaching can happen. So personally for us, in our university, maybe I can give my experience. I'm teaching macroeconomics, economics, and econometrics, but I am doing research in an entirely different area. So that is giving us lots of issues, or our time is always at what a very not very constructive position, very depressive situation, allocating time between these two areas of research and teaching. So those things need to be changed in order to what, particularly in science-based disciplines, teachers are engaging in teaching in the areas of their own research expertise. That would be good for them. That's the only comment that I can have. And I welcome all your observations. So let us have discussion for next 10 to 15 minutes, and then we shall break. Thank you. Yeah, at least there should be somebody who's speaking. You can give your interdisciplinary research experience. Just share. I don't know which background you come from, but I think this name is familiar, Vyadasima. Teacher, from which college you are?
I am from Government Arts College, teacher. My biotechnology faculty.
Okay, that's why.
Yeah. Teacher, what do you think, whether the citation or the impact factor, which actually reflect the quality of a paper, in your opinion?
Yeah, both are important. Citation is important because the number of times you get cited is very important. And when you think about what the other things, the H index or those things, the journals, wait you. പോവാൻ നിൽക്കുകയാണോ എന്ന് പൊയ്ക്കോ, ഞാൻ വിളിക്കാം. So yeah, both these are important. That's what I have said.
Ma'am, you explained that it's very difficult to conduct a research work even in a research, center or in a university department. Considering the situations in affiliated college, it is even worse. So what advice you can give us, how we can improve the research environment in government colleges or affiliated colleges?
Yeah, that's a very serious issue, teacher. I know the difficulty because you are doing n number of works, multiple works you are doing, teaching, then administrative work, uploading the student marks. You may be in charge of the consultancy cell or ethics committee, those things, and finally you won't be getting your time at least to spend for your family. So it is in that case that we often say that it's good to have interdisciplinary collaborative works, because work is shared among those people who are engaged in this. So that's why nowadays even you look into statistics reading article publication, single authored publications are coming less and less. So if you come from a biotechnology department, it's good to associate with some other faculty in the biotechnology department of other universities, which is of your area of interest. And then somebody working in the lab, somebody interpreting the result, time will be shared. And academic work will also be shared. And that is the only way by which we could get a place, the center could get a place in the University of Kerala. Because I have lots of research assistants who are working with me, who are traveling with me, even for all the foreign projects, they are coming with me. So you motivate them, generate a teamwork within the university or within the college. That's the only way by which you can work. You may be getting money for your proposals. Even if you get fund, generating human resources is very difficult now, because time is always at a constraint. So that is why I have spoken on interdisciplinarity and academic collaboration. The only way by which you can strive now. Okay, and the research environment in the colleges also needs to be encouraged, because I am in the advisory committee of the Marivanis College Research Advisory Committee, and when I go there, so we give always a suggestion that student research papers, student, if you have masters, that should be promoted. So we have students working in different private universities across India, those who passed their PG from here, and those students who are working as faculty members, they say that it's compulsory that a student, when he passes out his post-graduation, should get a publication in a Scopus Index journal. So we at our late 50s, for me I am 50, I start thinking about all these publications. So students working, we have a PG project, no, sure, in every department. So those things need to be published. So initially we can work with our students and then that can be done. I hope, that can do some changes. Some changes should be made immediately, otherwise we won't survive. Yeah, thank you for your intervention.
Ma'am, one question. Hello.
Mina teacher, welcome.
Ma'am, just I wanted to share one concern, like the women scientists have actually becoming lesser and lesser who actually reach the top level of this thing. If for any research or something, if maybe in terms of all the metrics or anything, women is actually coming very less. Less in the sense when you compare it with maybe men, the people actually who are actually established as a hardcore researchers or hardcore scientists, it is very less in the case of maybe in many fields women are actually less. So how can we actually uplift the women? Ma'am, you are actually a very good example, because you strived a lot and you reached up to this particular level, and you are a very great researcher that is known in our university. So ma'am, how do you actually manage yourself to be in
I don't have an answer for that. Recently I had a person coming from JNU. She was doing research on the gender injustices in higher education. Her research topic was that, and she was interviewing some selected researchers, teachers from the University of Kerala, and she was also asking this question: what are the hurdles that you face in the university as a lady? So I said, in the university, I have never faced any difficulty as a lady. To be very frank, I have not experienced anything, but it had been a great problem for me while I was in my maybe late 30s or 20s, when when my children were very small. I had experienced all these problems. So what I did was, I don't know, this is a practical thing that I can share. What I did was, I definitely had, during that time, even when with a limited salary, I had a full-time maid with me throughout my life, who was doing all the household chores. So I never bothered about those things. And my husband used to always blame me that you are not at least checking over her, whether she is taking all these things from home. And I'm very sure that half portion of those valuable things in my home is in her house. Okay, so, but I didn't bother on that thing. But she used to cook well. So I had a lady, she is with me now also, at 70 years of age. So I think all teachers, we need to get some free time for that. And for my children, when they were studying, I had teachers coming to my home and spending time with them while they were reading newspapers, just to help them. Those things I have done. But that is why at least I could continue my research, which after my PhD submission, I continued that. But it's very disheartening to note that all the first rank holders who are students, ladies from our department, join institutes of repute. They take leave. People from IRS have taken leave. IPS officers have taken leave. From banks, they have taken leave, or they have quitted jobs. Recently, Veena Raj IRS have quitted her job. I know it's maybe because of the work-life balance issues that they face. And then those students, first rank holders, going to colleges as teachers, For 20 years, they may be in silence. After the age of 45, they'll come back, they'll start doing research, and the whole society needs to be. I'm sure that changes are happening now, and we may not be facing such issues in the case of our next generation, because all the students now are more capable of articulating their demands and mediating those talks, and those types of things. Changes are happening. I hope, you can also share your experience. That's a way by which we manage. But hard work and teamwork, that is what we have done, teacher. I would always try to endorse upon the term teamwork. The good PhD scholars who work with you, they need to be acknowledged. They need to be given the first recognition in any articles that you publish. That should be the way by which you behave. Wherever you go, they should be recognized. And that's the way by which knowledge can happen. And that's why people stick together only when they are recognized. So that is the sharing that I can have from my personal experience, teacher. And I don't think that I am a successful person, or there is no need for such a statement. But anyway, we are enjoying the work we are doing. That's important. I'm very happy with what is going on. As a lady and as an academician, I feel very proud of the whole system that is supporting us.
Thank you so much for your words, ma'am. Because why I ask such question is like whenever we see the statistics of top scientists and all, very few, even in India, when you are taking into consideration, very few women could be able to make it to the top. So that's why that was one of my concern, ma'am. What you told was exactly correct, because nowadays we need to think something more beyond our kitchen or beyond our household things. So then only we'll be able to, even though definitely criticisms may be there, but we should be able to do our both the things, personal as well as career part. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
I'd like to add, because last month I was coordinating the Women's Studies refresher course. Then there were teachers who presented their project on the issue that you raised. A chemistry sir was from SN College. It was a beautiful presentation on the women scientists, women chemists. He was giving a presentation, and all the statistics regarding those things during COVID times, the number of publications in index journals, very, very, very less number in the case of ladies. And on university education, on the number of students who pass out and who get placement, who become scientists, who was giving this information. I remember that, teacher. That's very true. So any other, some economics persons are here, I hope. Dr. Vijayalakshmi, PJ. So otherwise, maybe we will wind up. No, the time is given as up to 5 o'clock. So I may be penalized. Okay. So I hope we will stop or wind up. Okay.
Yes, thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you,
So
ma'am.
normally in every refresher course, there will be a welcome that is given. And this is the first time that I didn't get any welcome. So where the resource person will be introduced. And then there will also be a formal vote of thanks session. So it's very good that such formalities are avoided in a place where teachers interact. So thank you for being with me, and hope at least something you got from my talk. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for that illuminating talk.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
സാർ ഇറങ്ങിയോ? സാർ ഇറങ്ങിയോ?